You're listening to the Small Business Talk podcast with Cathy Smith. Episode 41.
Small Business Talk is a podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want a better way to run their businesses without spending years doing it the hard way. Small Business Talk is hosted by Cathy Smith, who has run the same marketing agency for more than 17 years and helped hundreds of business owners achieve their marketing goals.
Hey, I'm so glad you could join us.
Today, my special guest is Cham Tang, and he's from Authentic Education. Today, we're going to talk about 10 Facebook advertising tips for small business. Welcome, Cham.
Thanks for having me, Cathy. Pleasure to be here today.
What would you think is the first thing we should be looking at when we're doing Facebook advertising?
It sounds counterintuitive, but one of the first things I like to look at is to see what the competition is doing when it comes to Facebook ads. And there's a very little known but extremely powerful thing that Facebook brought out recently in the whole wake of the election scandal with Donald Trump. So Facebook was pushing for more transparency on who's placing ads and what people are advertising. And they created this thing called the Facebook Ads Library. If you go to facebook.com/ads/library, you can actually type in the Facebook page name of any Facebook page all around the world. Doesn't matter if it's, Donald Trump's page, if it's Coca-Cola, and you can see what ads they're placing. You can also look at different topics, like you could type in custom suits, you could type in health pills or something like that, and you can look at all the different types of ads in the world that people are placing. And that gives you a good baseline to start instead of kind of scratching your head, wondering what kind of ad you're going to place.
That's excellent, because then you could look at what other people in other areas of Australia or America or the UK are doing and then get some tips from that. It's a great tip.
Yeah, it's like doing market research, but without having to travel, without having to spend time flying to another country or anything. Just do it in your pajamas, so to speak. Or
having to pay a marketing company to do it and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Excellent.
Yeah, that's right. And quite often that's what they start by doing. So some of the ideas that they might come up with, they sound great, but that's because they started by looking at competitors all across the world.
Wonderful. So that's tip number one. What would tip number two be?
Tip number two is, before we even start writing the ad or anything, people need to look at who is seeing the ad. So who sees the ad is, I would say, just as important as what the ad says. And when it comes to audiences, that's where Facebook wins the game, because they've got so much information on you. So like, they know what pages you like, what music you like, even job titles and things like that a lot of people put in. There's a really tricky thing that Facebook allows you to do, which is called Lookalike Audiences, which means if you've got an existing Facebook page, an existing website, an existing list of clients, you could upload, let's say, a list of 150 email addresses to Facebook of your best clients, and then say to Facebook, find the similarities of these 150 people, and then show me 150,000 people that look like them in Australia. That's kind of just like duplicating your best customers. It's really powerful what they can do.
Yes, it definitely is. And it gives Facebook a really good idea of where you want to target, so you don't end up selling maternity things to teenagers, which might be a bit awkward for their parents. So
yeah, exactly. And this is the old school way of marketing. It was more of a shotgun approach before, like you had to spend $10,000 for a radio ad. But if your radio ad was for health equipment, you'd be spending it on a 7-year-old, a 70-year-old. It didn't matter. It wasn't too targeted. But these days, you can spend the money just on your interested clients, which is just so powerful.
Yes, definitely. And much better recording and transparency for where that money's going and what you're getting back as your ROI on that, return on investment. So wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. There's massive tracking available.
Okay, tip number three.
Tip number three is, there's a common misconception. A lot of people won't place a Facebook ad because they think they need a lot of things. One of the things they think they need is a website. So you can actually place Facebook ads without a website. A thing called lead ads, or also known as lead forms. You can place an ad that appears on Facebook itself. So let's say you're a financial planner and you're trying to give away a free initial consultation. So your ad could say, are you stuck with your finances and don't know where to turn to? Get your free consultation here. People click yes to learn more or to book now. Then there will be a form that pops up asking for their first name, last name, mobile, email, but that form will still be on the Facebook platform, and it will pre-populate the form with the person's details because Facebook already knows your first name, last name, mobile, and email. So all their details will be there, and they just have to hit submit, and then you can grab their details and call them or email them or anything you want to do. So you don't need to have a website, place ads. So don't let that stop you if you think, oh, my website's not perfect or anything like that.
And sometimes a good way of making it easy for people so that they don't actually then have to get off the Facebook platform, because as we know, people don't like to do multiple clicks. Even if you do have a fantastic website, sometimes it's still a good tactic because it doesn't take the audience off Facebook.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can hear some of the listeners, probably the wheels are turning in their head. They're thinking, what does that mean? Which one's better? Should I use this lead generation ad that you talked about, or should I use a traditional ad where they click to my website? The common question I get is sometimes people say, what's better, Cham, an image ad or a video ad? It's not that which one's better. It's that there are different types of people out there. There are people that love video, and there are people that love images because they don't have time to watch a video, or they're not going to turn the sound on. So therefore, we like to have both. So I like to have the lead generation ad for people who don't want to go to a website and want something quick and easy. And I like to have the ad that goes to the website because that's for the people who need a bit more detail. I understand, as a business owner, we're quite busy. You don't have time to create different ads. Strapped for time, I would just do the lead generation ad.
Number 4, what is our 4th tip?
The 4th tip would be, in this day and age, all of your images and videos that you place, whether it's on social media or doing Facebook ads, they really should be square right now. So they shouldn't be rectangles anymore, because square videos take up 78% more real estate than rectangle videos when someone's watching on a mobile phone. And because it's the image and the video that grabs people's attention more than the headline, you want to maximize that real estate. So think of it like a shop front window. You don't want to have a small space. You want to have a bigger a space as possible. Square videos and square images where possible. In the next, I would say 6 to 18 months, that's going to transition to now it's not even square. It's going to be more full screen images, full screen videos. Just to get a bit technical, the ratio will be 9:16, which means 9 across and then 16 down, because most people hold their phones kind of in portrait mode on their hand. So you want that image or that video to take up a full screen, like you kind of see with Instagram stories or Facebook stories. The only reason I mention Instagram, a lot of people don't know, but Facebook owns Instagram. When you're trying to place a Facebook ad or Instagram ad, you do it almost identically. So if I was to place an Instagram ad right now, I go to facebook.com to start placing that ad. Tip number 4 would be use square videos, square images.
And of course, thinking about our images and videos, they need to be really good quality, making sure that there's not a lot of background noise and that they're not blurry, or that we've used really small images, because on Facebook we can upload them full size. So we need
so high quality images so people can see them. There's more of a shift in this day and age to more authentic style images and videos. So not necessarily ones where it's like the perfect lighting, the perfect shot, someone standing in front of a camera delivering a message. People want to see things that look like it's very personal. Doing selfie images, doing selfie videos works well on social media because it doesn't look too corporate. It looks quite personal. That's really good news for small business owners, because we don't have to have a big budget. You don't have to get the lighting, the makeup, the shot, a professional SLR camera, and all this stuff. If you're just using your mobile phone and you kind of have a half steady hand and you talk straight into it, that's okay these days.
Yeah, definitely. And real sells. So if it's actually real you doing it, then that's perfect.
So people are looking for these days. They're not looking for something that you practiced 50 times for some reason. Although having said that, there is definitely an art to making something seem as though it was natural. I'll give you an example. If I'm watching a movie and it's obvious that the actor or actress is memorizing a line, that's not good. It's not authentic. The ultimate is, it looks like, I know I'm watching a film, I know I'm watching an actor, but it looks like the real thing. It looks like they just decided to get upset, or they just thought of something to say, or they just reacted to what the other actor was doing. That would be the ultimate. To rehearse it so often, it looks like you just thought of it.
Yes, absolutely. And you then no longer see the actor, you just see that character, the actor playing the character, so you don't actually remember who the actor is. Obviously, we're doing real and authentic, but we still need to be able to hear you, so just watch the background noise.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly if
still need to be able to hear you, still see you, that kind of thing, for sure.
Yeah, so don't need professional lighting, but yeah, do need to be able to see you.
5 would be having captions on videos. See, most people will watch your videos in silence. That means they're either at work, on the train, their partner is sleeping next to them. They're not going to turn the sound on. If you're paying money for ads and your video doesn't have any captions, at least half of the money you're paying is wasted, because they're simply not going to be bothered, or they're not unable to turn on the sound. You need to have captions to capture every word that you're saying so that the video can make sense without ever turning on the sound. What they always say at Facebook, I sometimes get invited to do Facebook trainings privately with Facebook headquarters. That's what happens when you spend a lot of money on Facebook ads. But they say, designed for silence and delight with sound. Design your video for complete silence, and if they turn on the sound, they're delighted with, extra stuff. Something has to happen when you turn on the sound, that's for sure.
You're saying do every single word. I know it's very popular at the moment just to do bullet points and do the main things, but you think still go with almost a transcription, every single word for your captions?
Depending what it is, you want it to make the most sense as possible with the sound off. If you don't do every single word, they still have to understand completely what's going on. If you're teaching something and you're speaking, then you probably want every single word. Otherwise, they'll be like, his mouth is moving and I don't know what's happening. But if it's like a traditional commercial and there's lots of inspiring footage of, someone jumping on a skateboard or something like that, then you don't necessarily need to have words all the time. It can just be a few bullet points and then people get the picture. Tip number 6 for Facebook ads, and this one just applies to about every form of marketing, is we need to understand what the goal of marketing is. So a lot of people, they'll copy different tactics. Like they'll see someone doing something and they'll copy that. Like they'll see a Oprah Winfrey motivational quote that someone posted, and they'll think, oh, that got 100 likes, I'm going to post that as well. But they don't really understand the underlying principle of what they're trying to achieve. The underlying principle is to build a relationship. So we're trying to build a relationship with our ideal client directly to us, to our company, our product, our service, ourselves as a speaker or a spokesperson for the company. If we look at posting an Oprah Winfrey quote, what does that do? That doesn't really build a relationship with you. You're helping build Oprah Winfrey's brand, not your own brand. Understanding underlying principles helps you make better decisions. Building a relationship means we don't go on a first date and then ask people if they want to get married straight away. We need to warm people up. We want to start the relationship by giving something, not by getting. So the best thing I've found to give in this day and age is education. The reason I like to give education, and by the way, you can give education on any product or service. If you sell, I was working with a lady who sells pool robots, the automatic robots that clean your pool, but there's still education you can give. The 5 things to look out for, how to clean your pool while you go on a 1-month holiday. So there's all this information you could give. The thing we love about education is, number 1, it's free to give. Number 2, it takes time to deliver the education. And this is a critical factor, because when it takes time to deliver education, it means you're building trust. It's very hard to build trust, to gain people's attention without time. As opposed, if I'm giving away an iPad or a holiday or a coupon, that only takes 10 seconds for someone to grab off me. They still don't trust me after that. But education takes time to deliver. So I like it because it's free, it has time, and it increases what we call professional trust. by teaching someone something, it increases their credibility, their trust for you, which is critical to any type of business, be it service or product-based business. Building relationships.
Yes, so absolutely. So there's 2 points there that we can unpack. One is if you're not a vet or involved in animals, then sharing the fluffy cat or the funny dog video, yes, it'll go viral, but it's not really going to build your business. So that's perfect. And then the other one there about sharing a coupon or an iPad or something like that, unless you're in computers in particular, an iPad, that's once again not going to build your business. Education is a far better option there. And like you say, with the pool example, there's lots of things that you could build in there on how to give them the tips and the frequently asked questions, that sort of thing. Yes, perfect.
Yeah, number 7 would be, sometimes people believe that there is like a magical formula to creating a perfect ad. And if they just learnt that formula, they would only have to create one ad. While learning different formulas and systems and structures, like I teach my students a whole bunch of stuff in a program I run called Digital Marketing Made Easy. While yes, there are shortcut formulas, you still need to test. So I like to say that about half of the ads that I write are no good. They're not no good because I'm not a good marketer. They're no good because that's how it is. Like, how are you supposed to know? The world's best comedian, over half the jokes they write, even if they're Seinfeld or whoever the best comedian is, they're still going to be bad. They still need to test. So likewise with our ads, with our emails, with any type of marketing, we want to test different things. We test different ads, different images, different videos, different headlines, different audiences. So as a general rule, what I would like to test is at least 3 different audiences, at least 3 different types of ads. So I could have an ad of a lady being really happy. Then I could have another ad of a picture of a house or whatever it happens to be, depending on your product or service. So test 3 different ads with at least 3 different audiences. And as a bare minimum, I would like to spend about $100 doing that test and spread that out over a week. The reason we spread our test out over a week, the way Facebook works, it's an auction system. Without getting into the technicalities, if you just think about, if you had to buy 10 houses this Saturday at auction, you're probably not going to get a very good deal because you wanted to buy them just on one day. But if you had 7 weeks worth of auctions to buy them, you probably get a better deal. So Facebook ads works the same way. If you need to spend your $100 today, then the quality of clients you get is more expensive. But if you can wait a week to do your test, spend $100 over the next 7 days, you'll get a better result as opposed to spending it all today. That serves people if you've got a smaller budget, the advantage is, hopefully your advantage is, you can spend more time attracting those leads and you'll get a better result.
Yes, and if you only do it on one day, then you're really cutting your audience as well, because if that one day is a weekday and people are looking on the weekends, or if it's an early morning, late afternoon, you're really starting to cut up your budget to when people are looking.
Exactly, and then when you place enough ads, so I've placed close to, I would say, $750,000 of our company's money. I'm not a digital agency, so this is just of our company's money on Facebook ads alone. And after a while, you'll notice that for some unknown reason, there are good days and bad days. Typically speaking, for us in our organization, Friday lunchtime up until Saturday afternoon isn't the best. We still leave the ads on, but sometimes it can be bad. That's a very general rule. But then sometimes there might be a Tuesday that is very, very bad, and there's no reason for it. Sometimes there might be a Thursday that's bad. Sometimes there's a Friday night that is excellent, and you just don't know. That's why, to your point, you want to test over a period of a week, because there's good days, there's bad days, and it's not always obvious what those days are. It's just like, if anyone's ever had a shop before, some days are busier than others. This week, Monday, has a lot of customers walking in the door. Next week, Monday is dead. Like, it's not because of a long weekend or necessarily the weather. It's just random fluctuations in clients.
Yes, definitely. And then you can have the industry days as well, We used to do some work for a lady that ran a B&B, and her big days were Thursdays and Fridays because people were booking last minute to work out what they were going to do for the weekend.
Yeah.
Monday was shocking because everybody had had the weekend. Even by sort of Tuesday, it wasn't until Wednesday that started to pick up again because, the weekend was too far away and they weren't booking far enough ahead. Yeah, you do have those seasonal and category options as well.
So what I would say to people, therefore, if you've got a business, I would start by running the ads all the time. And then you can go into your Facebook Ads Manager once you place the ads. And in the right-hand side, what you can do is you can break down, it's called a breakdown. You can break down the results of your ads based on the time of day. You could say, show me from midnight to midnight, so 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., all the way to the next day. Show me on average which times of the day are more expensive or which days of the week are more expensive. And if for some reason always, Monday and Tuesday is expensive, you could switch off the ads on Monday and then turn them back on Wednesday. I would say that's a very niched example. That might be relevant for maybe 5 or 10% of businesses. But for most people out there, I would just leave them on. For us, as an example, people who look at our ads at 11 p.m. are a little bit more expensive than people who look at our ads at 6 a.m. But there are people who will only look at Facebook at 11 p.m. and only look at Facebook at 6 a.m. So the question isn't whether I should, shut them down or anything like that. It's, do I still get a return on investment for the people who are clicking at 11 p.m.? If the answer is yes, then I would just leave the ads on. Yeah, you just need to know your numbers, like how much money are you willing to spend per lead or per customer for it to be worthwhile for you.
And I think that's exactly it. You just need to test and then tweak as you go along and adjust them as per your particular situation. Number 8.
Number 8 is a very quick and fun one. It is use emojis. So emojis are like the smiley faces, the fingers pointing, the fireballs, and all that different stuff. The great thing about emojis is it makes your Facebook ads or any of your social media posts, even your emails or anything like that, it makes them what I call snackable. As in, if you've just got big blocks of text, it's hard for people to digest that. But having little emojis and things makes it a bit more fun and snackable. So what I like to do is I go to emojipedia.org. So you go to emojipedia.org, you type in any emoji or you look at the popular ones, and then you'll find you can add those to your Facebook ads to help break up some of the text. And it's not just smiley faces and things like that. It's also things that look like bullet points. So you could get tick boxes. So now I've got 5 green ticks for here is what you will get or here is what you will learn. You could have numbers. You can get an emoji that looks like a capital 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. It makes it more interesting than just having text alone, because you've seen with social media, you can't really add too much formatting. Like you can't make headings and change the font and do these things. There are slight things you can do, but it's not massive. It's not like a big Microsoft Word document where you could do anything you wanted to. So we use emojis to kind of break it up. It makes it a lot more interesting. And statistically speaking, it's a very rough stat, but 12% uplift in click-through rates by using emojis. So you sprinkle a few emojis around. Obviously, you can overdo it as well, but you sprinkle a few emojis around and it looks a lot better. The other good thing about emojis is that it does mimic the natural way that people use social media. If you look at your friends' posts, they will use emojis. So using them helps us blend in, so to speak, because we want to not come across as a blatant ad. If you come across as a blatant ad, people kind of switch off automatically. It's like when you're on a website and you see like a leaderboard ad at the top of Sydney Morning Herald or whatever the newspaper site you read is. People kind of just switch that off. Their subconscious mind knows that's an ad and they don't even look at it. So you don't want people's brains to kind of switch off and trigger anything that says, this is an ad, time to switch off.
Yes, great advice. And having the emojis makes it look more social, which of course is social media. So that's perfect to make us look like that we're something of interest. And the other good thing there is that most other people running ads won't be doing it. So therefore you'll be standing out against the crowd there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, number 9.
Number nine is all about this thing called Evergreen Ads. So the word evergreen means it never gets old. It never becomes out of date or anything like that. A lot of people, when they create an ad, they put time-sensitive information in it. So they might say, we've got a special for Christmas in 2019, or I've got an event coming up on July 26. The problem with doing that is once you run that ad, and now you want to run the same event or the same special next year in 2021 or whatever it happens to be, you have to create the ad again. Creating the ad again, not only does it take more time, but what it does is all of the likes, comments, and shares that you accumulated on that ad can no longer be used. And that is called social proof. So social proof is people can see that 50 people like this ad. By the way, I do realize that Facebook is testing removing some of the likes, but people can still see the comments. People can still see the amount of shares. So just having 25 comments on there is great social proof, which means the next time you go to switch this ad on, the ad will start with 25 comments, 50 likes, 32 shares, or whatever it happens to be. Evergreen Ads is making sure when you write the ad itself, there is no time-sensitive information. It's not just times and dates. To give you a tip, it's other things like cities or product lines that you may have. So as an example, we run a lot of live events. So let's say we've got an event coming up, got a 10-city event called Wealth from Workshops. If I'm going to run a Facebook ad, what I don't want to say is Wealth from Workshops coming up in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide. Because what happens when I go to Perth? What happens when last year we started going to Auckland for the event? And then now we just trialed out Hobart for the very first time. Now I can't use that ad again because I was limiting myself with the cities. So just think to yourself, is there anything in this ad that I'm about to write which in maybe 2 years' time, 3 years' time, won't make sense anymore? If that's the case, then I would not put it in the ad because you want your ad to be evergreen. I've got an ad for one of our personal development events, also across 10 cities, but it has over 1,500 likes on it, 560 comments, and 360 shares because I've just compounded it over and over again. But when people see an ad, imagine you saw an ad that has 500 comments, like it's just massive compared to what most people do. They'll think, all right, I've got to start the ad again and put my dates up, start with 0 comments, 0 likes, 0 shares. Not very good.
Great. So social proof that builds year after year or month after month, depending on what you're doing with your actual ad and the events or the products you're running.
Yeah, that's
not
right.
Starting from scratch. What a wonderful idea. We're up to
number 10. The last one is more of a sales thing, I guess, a sales and marketing thing. It's all about handling clients' objections before they come up. Most people, and the traditional way people would write the ad, write the copy of the ad, they call it, is they just want to say all the great things about their ad. Let's say someone is a personal trainer, as an example, and they want to say, I've got a free boot camp, first lesson for free. It's only 30-minute lesson. You can do at lunch and you're going to burn fat. And they just go on a rampage of how great it is. But what they don't realize is the reason to do something is only half the battle. We need to also look at the reason people won't do something. So I would ask yourself this question. What is the reason that people won't take the action you're asking them to do in the ad? What's the reason people won't take the action? What's the reason someone won't book in for this personal training free session that you're offering? You might think, maybe they think they're going to get worked too hard and it's going to be like this boot camp they saw in The Biggest Loser and they're just scared of that. Or maybe they think that it's going to get too sweaty and then they're not going to be able to do it at lunchtime because that's just an assumption. So we need to answer those in the ad itself too. So we might say something like, easy lessons for beginners, 3 different times to pick from, before, during, or after work. This counters the objection. As an example, or when we were running the Turning Point Intensive ad, I know one of the objections might be people think it's going to be a lot of hype and rah-rah, So I'll say in the ad, no hype, no hugs, no rah-rah. So they can see directly what it's about. And people appreciate that. You're just being upfront. I know a lot of people think, why is the event free? Is there something to sell there? And I'll deal with that directly as well. I'll say we use the freemium marketing method. Just like Spotify and Evernote and stuff is free, our courses are free. Yes, we do offer paid courses, but that takes like 5% of the day. If you don't want to buy them, you don't have to. Just like you can listen to free music on Spotify. If you don't want to subscribe to the premium version, you don't have to. Just being transparent as possible in your marketing, I've found has served us well, and people appreciate it, and their BS radar is on, and they kind of already know that there might be something up. So just find a nice way to tell the 100% truth.
Yes, so by actually dealing with their fears first up, they're one, knowing that you understand them, two, knowing that you're aware that there are the objections, so that then there's no hidden surprises. And that's the biggest thing, is people don't like the disconnect or the spam me, what are you going to hit me over the head with once I come through the door?
That's right, 100%.
All right, lovely. So those are 10 wonderful tips, and I'm sure our audience has got great value out of that. So is there anything else that you think that we should know about?
Yeah, there is. For your listeners, I'm going to create a special page with some resources, a 45-minute webinar where I actually go through 6 of my top marketing strategies. So Facebook ads is one part. There are 7 different strategies which I say can create you an endless stream of clients and get you a 500% return on every dollar you spend. If people want to get their hands on that free, they can go to authentic.com.au/Cathy. By the way, once again, to be totally transparent, the webinar has nothing to buy, nothing to sell, nothing to buy in the webinar. There's just information jam-packed in there.
Yeah, we'll put those in the show notes, because some of our audience are worldwide. We've got quite a big audience in America and some in the UK as well, so the webinar would really work well for them. So excellent. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time, knowledge and expertise. Where else would you like people to find you?
Connect with me on social. Instagram, my name is Cham Tang, so CHAM for Mary, TANG. They can look for me on Facebook as well. I have a Facebook page, Cham Tang. A website called chamtang.com. It's all.
And we'll add that on the show notes as well, so that people can just click on them and go there easily. Appreciate your time and your tips. I'm sure everybody will jump on and get those free resources. Thank you very much.
Right. Thanks for having me, Cathy.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to Small Business Talk podcast and head on over to smallbusinesstalk.com.au/downloads for all the show notes and links to this episode. Remember, to be great, you must start. Pick one tip from today's episode, take action and implement it. Let's meet again next week at the same time and place. Until then, take action. And SBT community, enjoy your journey.